What's going on, everybody? My name's Miller, and in today's video, we are going to rank the worst division in baseball. And this is something that, the offseason has been moving really slow. Not much has happened as in terms of trades or free agent signings. Although, thanks Padres, they're the only ones doing anything. But I thought it would be cool to, rank each division and why I thought divisions were better or worse than other ones. And I feel like generally the general consensus across fans of baseball and across baseball, is that the Central teams are probably the worst divisions. But my gut said AL Central because they've been so bad for so long. But after I looked at everything, the NL Central is a damn joke. And we're gonna get into that. But first, make sure you like the video, comment down below what division you think is the worst division in baseball. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a ton, more than you guys could know. And my socials are linked in the description for news, things like that. So make sure you go follow me there. And on Twitch, we're gonna stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Not sure what time yet. We'll make sure we let you guys know. And so thanks for everything. Let's get into the NL Central. So starting with the St. Louis Cardinals, and the reason I want to start with them is because they are the least joke of a team in that division. The Cardinals are a great organization, and this ranking isn't deciding which organizations are the worst organizations in baseball, just the divisions. And I think the Cardinals are a good organization. They typically try and have a competitive team on the field. But when you look at it, the Cardinals, they might win that division, and they might only get like 83 wins coming up in 2021 if we play a full 162 game season. But that being said, the Cardinals don't have a lot going for them. In 2020, they had the 24th best OPS among offenses in baseball at 697. Now that's not very good. In terms of the NL Central, that's actually kind of decent, and that's why I think the NL Central is the worst team in baseball, or the worst division in baseball, excuse me. And, typically when these teams aren't very good, you would hope, or you would imagine that they have decent farm systems. And that's not really the case either. The Cardinals have the 18th best system in baseball, which is let me look here really quick, which is actually the second best farm system in the NL Central, and then 18th overall. So these NL Central teams aren't good now and aren't getting good in the future, and they're not spending money, and it's terrible. It's not good baseball to watch. It's competitive, but it's not it's basically a bunch of AAA teams going at it for a division title and a chance at Major League playoffs, which I think is not a good look and not a good product. One thing that the Cardinals do have going for them, they do have some fun guys to watch, younger guys. Dylan Carlson, he's one of their top prospects. He came up in 2020. Really struggled at first, but then started to find his groove. I don't know exactly what his stats are, but he definitely is a fun guy to watch, and I think he'll be fun to watch. One of my favorite players to watch coming forward. And they also have a couple, one top prospect, Nolan Gorman. I think he'll be fun to watch. He's got a ton of pop, but I'm not sure exactly when his estimated time is. I don't think he'll be up in 2021. And then obviously they have one of the best pitchers in baseball in Jack Flaherty. My man is disgusting. But after that, the rotation's not very good. They have Kwang Hyun Kim. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And then he's like their number 2 guy. And then behind that is maybe Alex Reyes, but he's been hurt a lot, and he is 26 now, so he's not exactly super young. He's been hyped up a lot, but he hasn't really translated all of the hype into major league success. I hope he does. I think he's fun to watch, but I don't know if it's actually going to happen for him in 2021 either. Moving along in the NL Central divisions, we're going to go to the Milwaukee Brewers, another team who in 2019, they were pretty good. They were a fun, competitive team. Christian Yelich was obviously Jesus Christ himself, could walk on water, he could kiss your baby and you'd let him in 2018 and 2019. But now in 2020, he just absolutely fell off a cliff. I think he'll recover and be a stud in 2021. But I don't think you can lead a team all on your own with Christian Yelich. And the Brewers do have some okay pitching. They have their starting pitching anyway. The Brewers have been known not to have very good starting pitching, but guys like Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff have definitely come up and impressed a lot of people. I think Corbin Burns is one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's fun to watch. Actually led the league in FIP last year, which is good. That's fielding independent pitching. For any of you guys that don't know, it's a little bit better stat than ERA, just because it's less dependent on your defense and things like that. And then the offense for Milwaukee is not good. They were 25th in OPS at 695 in 2020. And guys like Daniel Vogelbach and Luis Urias, I don't think they're going to get it done for the Brewers. And the Brewers offense isn't getting any better either. The Brewers have the worst farm system in baseball. Number 30 out of 30, not a good place to be, not where you want your team to be at all. Even if they win the World Series, you don't want them to have the worst farm system in baseball. They don't have a single top 100 prospect, so things aren't looking good for the Brewers. One thing I'll give them, the best part of the Brewers is definitely their bullpen. They have two of the best relievers in baseball, and Josh Hader, and then a National League Rookie of the Year, Devin Williams. They're both filthy disgusting, but unfortunately you can't have two relievers pitch every game for you for a whole 162 game season and expect to have any success. Their arms will fall off and you'll ruin their careers. So that's not something you want. Moving on, we're gonna go to the Chicago Cubs, and you can see this Cubs hat. There it is. This Cubs hat behind me. I'm originally from Chicago. I'm a Cubs fan. I root for the Cubs all the time. I was thrilled when they won the World Series in 2016, but it's been hard to watch since then, and it's not getting any easier. And they could not hit. And then now their team OPS in 2020 was at 23rd, which is actually the best in the division. It was 23rd in baseball, but best in the NL Central Division at 699. So you can tell that the division is just not very good overall. And they have the 23rd best farm system in baseball, with Nico Horner being their top prospect. But he came up in 2020 and more of a contact guy, doesn't have a ton of pop, but can play anywhere. I think he's going to be a fun young guy to watch, but I don't think he's going to necessarily be a franchise game-changing player for them. Similar to how guys like Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, things like that, when they came up with the Cubs, those were franchise-changing players. I don't think they have any of those in their system right now. And the Cubs are trying to cut payroll, and I think it's an absolute joke. Obviously, they just traded away Yu Darvish. They didn't really get much in return for him. I do think that Zach Davies is a good pitcher, but he's not going to help them necessarily win a playoff series if they get there. So they threw away their best pitcher just to cut payroll in Yu Darvish. Jose Quintana's not coming back. And besides that, they don't really have much going on in terms of pitching. Craig Kimbrell is a wash of his old self. Not that good anymore. So the Cubs don't have a lot going for them in terms of offense or pitching. They have some good players, obviously. Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant. They got rid of Kyle Schwarber because they didn't want to pay him, which I think is stupid. But Javi Baez was like the worst, in terms of OPS, was the worst qualified hitter in 2020. So that's not good. Obviously, Javi Baez is disgusting defensively, one of the best defensive shortstops in the game. But in terms of offense and pitching, they don't have much going on for them. So, and their only goal is to cut payroll. So it's really hard to watch and annoying. They do have some guys that were good in 2020, but I'm not sure. I think they'll come back down to earth. Guys like Ian Happ, I think he'll be good, but Jason Hayward, I don't expect him to be one of the best hitting right fielders in baseball again next year. He's been below average in terms of OPS almost his entire career, so I expect to see that come back in 2021. Maybe he'll be a little better, but I don't expect him to be as good as he was in 2020. So now we're going to move on to the Cincinnati Reds, who the Reds are, it doesn't make any sense to me, because in 2019, the Reds, they had some good prospects. They were up and coming. They had good offense, but no pitching. And then in 2020, they get Trevor Bauer from the Cleveland Indians. And they have Sonny Gray. They have Luis Castillo. They have a stellar rotation. And these guys pitched amazing for them. And then their offense was nowhere to be found. Eugenio Suarez wasn't as good. Nick Castellanos wasn't as good. Joey Votto is starting to fall off a little bit. He's getting up there in age. Mike Moustakas, one of my favorite players, wasn't as good as maybe his contract implies they should be. So they had no offense. They were, let's see here. The Reds were 21st in the league in OPS. So they were actually best in the Central. They were 21st in the league with in OPS at 702, which is okay. I mean, 21st isn't that good. But when you're playing other teams that suck at offense, then that's fine. But the rotation was Trevor Bauer, Sonny Gray, Luis Castillo, Wade Miley. Like, they have good guys, but now all they're trying to do is cut payroll, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Trevor Bauer's gone. He's not coming back. He's leaving somewhere in free agency. I'm guessing he'll go to the Angels, but I'm not entirely sure. They're trying to trade Sonny Gray to cut payroll. They want to try and get They want to try and trade Luis Castillo when his value is super high, which I understand, but it doesn't make any sense because they could easily win this division with the pieces that they have, but they just refuse to do so. And to me, it's infuriating. And they have the 24th best farm system in baseball. And their top prospects are Nick Lodolo, who came up I believe he came up in 2020. I may be thinking of spring training, but he got shelled, if I remember correctly, which isn't very good. I think he'll bounce back. He's obviously a top prospect for a reason. And then Hunter Green, former two-way star, now just a pitcher. I think he'll eventually come up and be great, but he might not be up until 2022 or 2023. So they do need to rebuild that farm system, which I understand. But when you have a wide open division like the NL Central is, I don't understand why you wouldn't take advantage of that. But the Reds just want to cut payroll. So that's where they're at right now. And then last but not least, the Pittsburgh Pirates. And everyone knows that the Pittsburgh Pirates might be the worst organization in baseball. Just period. Not good. Very bad. They had a league worst OPS at like 690, which is not good. They just traded their best hitter in Josh Bell, which is not something you want to do. And they got almost nothing back for Josh Bell. Why would you trade Josh Bell at his absolute worst value? I don't know, but they did. So they just got worse. And then they have their pitching is okay. They don't have a bullpen, but they do have guys like Jamison Tyone, Joe Musgrove, Trevor Williams. Those are all they have a rotation full of 4 starters. Obviously, Jamison Tyone's a little bit more established than other people, but he's coming back from injury. Didn't pitch in 2020, so we'll see how he is in 2021. I'm not sure. And then they have guys, their top prospects are Mitch Keller and Ke'Bryan Hayes. And Mitch Keller, I think is going to be good. And Ke'Bryan Hayes is an absolute stud. He came up in 2020 and was great. So I think that they have that going for them. But after that, their third best prospect is O'Neal Cruz. And if you guys remember correctly, O'Neal Cruz killed 3 people in a car crash during the season. So he's never going to get MLB time, which is unfortunate for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that's not something that they can control, but that just means their 15th overall best farm system is going to go down because they just lost one of their best prospects. And when you're as bad as the Pirates are, you want to have a good farm system, and although they have the best farm system in the NL Central, they have the 15th best farm system in baseball, which isn't very good. So even though they have a decent rotation, like I said, of guys like Tyone, Musgrove, Williams, I suspect they're going to trade some of those pieces just like they did with Josh Bell. Maybe trade a guy like Brian Reynolds just to get some pieces back and try and build that farm system up a little bit more. But it's not looking good for Pirates fans. You know, that stadium was really fun to watch. That team was really fun to watch when they made the playoffs a couple years in a row. Back in 2013, 2014. One of my favorite teams to watch. They were always super fun, but now they're looking like the Pirates of old, which is unfortunate. So that's the NL Central. Just to go over the division as a whole real quick to wrap things up. Christian Yelich is obviously a stud. I think he'll bounce back in 2021, like I said. He's not going to be as bad as he was in 2020, that's for sure. He's easily the best hitter in the National League Central. And then the Cardinals have guys like Paul Goldschmidt. Who else is in that division? And then obviously the Cubs have Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo. Even though I don't know if Chris Bryant's going to be a Cub for much longer. He might get traded this offseason, so we'll see. The Pirates have absolutely no offense. And then I do think the Reds have some pieces. I think Moose Moustakas he'll bounce back. I think Eugenio Suarez will probably bounce back. But still, the only thing the NL Central has going for it is pitching. But when you look at it, the 2 best pitchers in the NL Central are no longer in that division. Trevor Bauer's leaving, like I said. Yu Darvish just got traded to the Padres for a bag of peanuts, so he will not be in that division anymore. And then after that, the Reds want to get rid of Sonny Gray and Luis Castillo, like I mentioned, so they're going to get much worse. So the best pitcher in that division is Jack Flaherty, which, again, I think he's a stud. And then after that, you have guys like Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff. So the only thing the NL Central has going for it, they're throwing away for absolutely nothing. So it doesn't make any sense to me. That was pretty much one big rant, guys. Obviously, you can tell I'm super passionate about this. I think that the NL Central, I don't understand why a team doesn't spend a few $1 million to put a competitive team on the field. It's not going to be expensive. This is a buyer's market. But anyway, that's besides the point. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like I said, we're going to stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/McMiller42, same as the YouTube. Make sure you go follow me there and follow my socials. Links are going to be in the description. And I hope you guys have a good day. Thanks for watching.